My wife said, "I want a divorce, but I get the house." I nodded. Then I walked to the safe, pulled out the deed with only my name on it, and placed it on the kitchen table. She left with one suitcase and no address. The house was silent. Finally mine again. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these stories. The house was finally quiet. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. My wife Jessica was gone. She took one suitcase with her. Her angry words still felt like they were in the air. She wanted a divorce and she wanted my house. I gave her the divorce. I kept my house. The deed on the kitchen table proved it was always mine. I am Mark, 38. She is Jessica, 35. I was no fool. My job is to be an urban planner. I look at big empty spaces and see a future city. I see the roads, the power lines, the parks, and the houses. I have to see how everything connects. I have to see problems months or years before they happen. My mind is trained to see the whole map, not just the next step. I used that training to save myself. The problem started about 8 months ago. Jessica became distant. She worked late more often. She was always tired when she came home. Her phone was always with her, screen down. I knew something was wrong. Jessica was my wife. We had been married for 7 years. She introduced me to a man from her work named Todd. She told me he was like a brother to her. He was her work husband, she joked. I did not like that joke. He was a manager at her company. He had a wife and kids. I saw the way he looked at Jessica. It was not how a brother looks at a sister. I tried to believe her. I told myself it was just stress from her job. I wanted to trust the woman I married. Things changed after we made the final payment on the house. The house was mine before we married. I bought it with my own money. But we both worked hard to pay it off early. After that day, she started talking differently. She talked about making big changes to the house. She talked about her future plans. Her plans did not seem to have me in them. I started to see small things. A text message that she quickly hid. A credit card bill with a dinner for 2 at a fancy place I had never been. The way Todd would touch the small of her back at a work party. It was a small touch, but it said mine. I stopped arguing with her. Arguing was a waste of time. I started to observe and make a log. I wrote down dates, times, and events. I was building a map of my own life. My plan was simple and quiet. I found the original deed to the house. It had only my name on it. I opened a new bank account in my name only. I spoke to a lawyer. He told me what my rights were. I was ready. I just needed one clear moment. One moment that everyone could see. One moment that would prove I was not the bad guy. That moment came at a charity gala. It was at the Portland Art Museum. It was a big event with many people from her company. I saw Jessica and Todd laughing together by the bar. They looked like a couple. After a while, Jessica came over to me. She had been drinking. She looked at me with a cold smile. She leaned in close. She said she and Todd were going to do great things together. Then she spoke louder so our friends near us could hear. "This old art is nice, but I am ready for an upgrade in my life." She looked right at me. She wanted everyone to see her power over me. I did not get angry. I smiled a calm smile. I said, "Everyone deserves the life they build." I stayed for 10 more minutes. Then I went home alone. She came home hours later. She was angry I did not wait for her. She went to our bedroom and slammed the door. My house was quiet again, but not for long. My mind was clear. My checklist was ready. Update 1. My work began at 0:01 a.m. I went to my home office and closed the door. I knew I had until 0400 a.m. to get everything done before I needed some sleep. Jessica was a heavy sleeper. She would not wake up. First, I handled access. I had helped Jessica set up her company's online portal for remote work. She gave me her password in case of an emergency. I logged in as her. I went to the security section. I deactivated her building access key fob. She would not be able to get into her office building on Monday. Next, I changed the code on our front door's smart lock. She would not be able to get back into the house. Second, I handled the money. We had a joint savings account. I calculated exactly half of the money in it. I transferred my half to my new private account. I also transferred the money I had before we were married. I left her exact share in the old account. It was her money, fair and square. We had a shared credit card. I paid the full balance online. Then I called the 24-hour customer service line. I removed her as an authorized user. The card with her name on it was now a piece of plastic. Third, I packed her a bag. I put her essentials in one suitcase. I packed her work laptop and her work phone. I included the chargers for both. I put her purse inside. I also gathered all the jewelry I had ever given her. The necklace, the earrings, the bracelets. I put them in a soft bag and placed it at the top of the suitcase. Fourth, I sent one text message. I sent it to our mutual friend, Sarah. Sarah was a good person and she deserved to hear the facts from me. The text said, "Hi Sarah. Jessica publicly ended our relationship tonight. She will need a new place to live. Things are moving fast. Just wanted you to know." This was not a story. It was a fact. It would protect me from lies later. I finished my work. I went to the kitchen and made a pot of coffee. I sat at the table and watched the sun come up over the city of Portland. I was tired, but I was calm. The plan was in motion. Jessica woke up late. She came into the kitchen and asked me to make her coffee. I said no. She saw the suitcase by the front door. She asked if I was going somewhere. I told her no. I told her the suitcase was for her. Her face changed from sleepy to confused, then to angry. She started yelling. She said this was her house. That is when she said the words from the start of this story. "I want a divorce, but I get the house." I did not yell back. I stood up and walked to the safe in my office. I took out the deed. I walked back to the kitchen and placed it on the table. "The house is in my name only," I said. "It was mine before we met." Then I told her what I had done. "Your work fob will not work. The door code has changed. Your card access has ended. Your share remains in the account. Your essentials are in the bag. You have until 11:45 a.m. to be out of my house." I told her she should call the person she felt most comfortable with to pick her up. She stared at me with pure hate in her eyes. Then she pulled out her phone and called Todd. Todd arrived about an hour later. He looked big and tough. He tried to come inside. I stood in the doorway. I told him he was not welcome in my home. He started to puff out his chest. He said I could not just throw Jessica out. I pointed to the small security camera in the hallway. "You are trespassing," I said in a low, calm voice. "The camera is recording. Any threats you make will be given to the police. The deadline is 11:45 a.m. He looked at the camera. He looked at me. His face lost its anger. He just looked weak. He and Jessica took the suitcase and left. I watched them walk to his car. Jessica was crying now. Todd did not even put his arm around her. After they drove away, I sent one final email to Jessica. The subject was, "Your belongings." The email said she could arrange one time to pick up the rest of her things. A police escort would be present. She would have 1 hour. I closed the door. I locked it. The house was silent. It was finally mine again. Update 2. The next few days were noisy from a distance. My phone buzzed with calls from Jessica's parents. They left angry voicemails. They called me terrible names. I did not answer. I saved the voicemails in a special folder. Her friends started posting things on social media. They wrote vague stories about a cruel husband. They did not use my name, but everyone knew who they were talking about. I took screenshots of everything. I did not reply. I would not fight with them online. My fight was happening in a different place. My fight was quiet and precise. I needed to protect my job and my future. Jessica and Todd had shown they were not good people. I had the proof. When Jessica worked from home, she used my personal cloud drive to back up her work files. She said it was easier than the company system. I had given her permission. This meant I had legal access to everything she put there. I spent an evening looking through the files. I found folders with recordings of her work conference calls. She recorded them to take notes later. I started listening. Most of it was boring work talk. But then I found one. It was a call with Todd. After the other people on the call left, they stayed on the line. They forgot to stop the recording. Their voices were clear. They started laughing about me. Todd called me Mr. Planner. Jessica laughed and said my planning was boring. Then they started talking about my house. Their house. They talked about what color they would paint the bedroom. They talked about the new furniture they would buy with my money. It was all there. Their disrespect. Their plan. I edited the recording. I cut out all the work talk. I made a new file, just 35 seconds long. It contained only their personal conversation. It was the smoking gun. I wrote a short, professional email to the head of human resources at Jessica's company. I attached the 35-second audio clip. My email said, "To the head of HR. This recording of a company call between two of your managers was found on a shared personal cloud drive. I believe it shows unprofessional conduct and a misuse of company resources. I am providing it for your review." I sent it. Next, I did some research on Todd. I found out that his wife's father was a major investor in their company. The father was a serious, old, school businessman. I found his business contact information online. I sent him the same 35-second clip. My email to him was different. It was short and kind. It said, "Sir, with all due respect, I think you should know about the character of the people managing your family's investment." This was recorded on a company line. I sent the email. Then I waited. I had placed my pieces on the board. The game was no longer in my hands. The system would take care of the rest. An urban planner knows that once the foundations are set, the structure will rise on its own. Final update 4 months later, the dust has settled. The results are clear and final. My life is quiet again, but this time it is a peaceful quiet. At her job, Jessica faced a full HR investigation. They found emails and chat logs between her and Todd on the company servers. My audio clip was the key that opened the door. The company found that they misused work time and resources for their affair. Jessica was not fired. That would cause too much drama. Instead, she was moved to a small office in a boring department. She has no important projects. She has no path to get a promotion. Her career is over. Todd's ending was much faster. His father-in-law listened to the clip. He was furious. He called an emergency meeting with the company leaders. He pulled all of his family's money from the company. He told them exactly why. Todd's wife filed for divorce the same week. The company fired Todd to try to make the investor happy. It did not work. Todd lost his wife, his family's respect, and his job in just a few days. Their social circle fell apart. The friends who posted bad things about me online went silent. When Jessica and Todd lost their high-status jobs, they were no longer invited to the cool parties. Nobody wanted to be around their failure. My lawyer received a letter from Jessica's lawyer. She wanted money. She wanted support. My lawyer sent back a single letter. It said that any request for support would be met with a legal action against her for damages. We would use the proof of her affair in court. We never heard from her lawyer again. I sold the house in Portland. It had too many bad memories. With the money, I bought a beautiful piece of land near Bend, Oregon. The air is clean here, and the sky is huge. I am an urban planner. For years, I planned cities for other people. Now, I am planning my own life. I designed a small, modern house just for me. The foundation is being poured next week. I trust my training. I can see the whole map. I can see a good future for myself, built on a clean and solid foundation. I will not make the same mistakes again. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel.